Hey, North Wilkes High School. I'm so glad to get to talk with you today. I appreciate all the students, faculty, teachers allowing me to speak a little about Veterans Day. You know, good morning, afternoon, whatever time it is. We're in a different time zone here. So my name is Jason Garlock, and I'm an active duty Army chaplain. I joined the Army in 2007, and I've had different types of jobs, right? And you move all over. But currently, I'm part of the 8th Special Troops Battalion, 8th Theater Sustainment Command. This is basically the command, the people in charge of all the sustainment and the logistics across the entire Pacific. So the largest part of the globe. We're stationed at Fort Shafter, Hawaii, you know, aloha. While you guys are bundled up and getting ready for winter, we're still surfing and enjoying paradise. Anyways, this command, they're responsible for getting the personnel and equipment and everything you need to win and fight our nation's wars all across the globe. It's pretty amazing. And today I'm talking to you from one of our LSVs. This is a support vessel. This is an Army boat. Believe it or not, we've got very big Army boats that get stuff around. And today we're docked. This is where we keep our boats at Joint Base Hickam, Pearl Harbor, historic Joint Base Hickam, Pearl Harbor. This is a beautiful location and it's full of incredible history. So hopefully you've brushed up a little bit on your American military history, and you know World War II kicked off right here when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and this is just a beautiful place. As you get on base, you can still see bullet holes and all sorts of damage that we took during the attack, and the vessels that have sank, you can go around and see them, but they're all just a piece of history that let people look back and remember you know, what has happened. So what a joy to speak to you today from this historic, awesome location. And I'm from Wilkes County, you know, so when I joined in 2007, I graduated in 2006, so I'm very connected with you and privileged to talk with you. So we're talking Veterans Day today, and some of you may know a whole lot about Veterans Day. Maybe you're connected to military, and maybe you don't know a lot about Veterans Day. That's okay, because I'm going to share with you just a few of the details. So basically, in 1919, President Wilson declared November 11th was going to be Armistice Day. And if you remember back, World War I, this is a global war. Like over 9 million warriors lost their lives during World War I. It was known as the war to end all wars. It was a major event with more than 116,000 American lives lost. And in 1919, President Wilson said, we're going to celebrate this. And he called it Armistice Day because in 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, hence November 11th, the German powers and Allied powers, they ceased fire. And so this celebrated that day. And in that, it was a 4-day weekend, and there were parades, there were all sorts of festivities, and nationwide businesses closed at 11 a.m. so that way people could celebrate with their families. It was a big deal to have these people, these heroes return, and they wanted to celebrate it. So this was the kickoff of what has now become Veterans Day. 1926, they passed a continuing resolution, and then 1938, this became a legal holiday. And we fast forward a couple years, and it takes us into World War II. We just said that right here we're in the historic, this is Pearl Harbor, historic Pearl Harbor, where World War II kicked off, and the Japanese surprised us, and they bombed the fleet in the Pacific, and this launched us into World War II, which ends up being one of the largest military movements in history. And so, you know, as we propelled into that war, we had over 1 million Americans either wounded or killed in action. There were over 400,000 American deaths. So this was again a national movement. People rallied behind what was going on, and to that we have 1954 President Eisenhower because of World War II, proclaims this is going to be Veterans Day. They changed the name from Armistice Day, which celebrated all the World War I veterans, and now he made the Veterans Day proclamation, which said we're going to celebrate on this day veterans from all of our nation's wars. So that was a very important day. Now from that, depending on where you were and what day it fell on, the date changed a lot. Sometimes it was in October, it was all around. 1978 though is when it officially became November 11th. It doesn't matter what day that November 11th falls on, what day of the week, it's always November 11th. And that idea was to focus people back to the historical importance of this event, right? Which was celebrating veterans for their sacrifices, for their love of country, and all that they have given up to protect our freedoms. It's an amazing time. So other than this cool bit of history, and this is a neat backdrop, it's a lot of information, what is the point? What is the point in Veterans Day? Well, I'm glad to share with you, my perspective. This is not just another holiday. It's not a day off of school or a day off of work. We barbecue a lot, right, when it's time. For these federal holidays, we have sales and discounts, as happens on most holidays, but that's not the point, right? And probably most important, I think, to hit home with you today is that this is not something that's just happened a long time ago for you to remember, okay? This is a living holiday. This is living and breathing. Every single year that we celebrate Veterans Day, it's not that one moment in time from World War I. We're celebrating the veterans who continue to fight today, right? That in your lifetime, this should be very real. You probably know someone, friend or family, who has served in the military or deployed to combat. We've been for the last 2 decades, for your entire lifetime, we've been a nation at war since 9/11. Absolutely a living holiday, and people continue to fight for our freedoms. This is an amazing place, America, absolutely incredible place to live. We take it for granted, without going into our Constitution and just all that you have. Thomas Jefferson summarized potentially our rights the best, our freedoms. He said this: we, which he's talking about the American people, hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, because we only understand our own culture and where you're from, and maybe you haven't traveled, I can tell you firsthand, as somebody who's deployed and been in different places in the world, that the freedoms that we enjoy in America are not universal. We think that they are, but this idea of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, your freedoms that we exercise every day, freedom of speech. We just had the elections, right? Your freedom to vote. These things are not universally accepted, and they are fought for, which is really important, that people continue. We're in a volunteer military, that people continue serving and fighting for those freedoms. Here's an interesting quote, one of my favorites, from Ronald Reagan. He said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." It's not something that you pass on to your children in your bloodstream. It's not something you just get. It must be fought for, it must be protected, and it must be handed on for them to do the same. These freedoms we enjoy, it takes constant, generation after generation, of volunteering to stand up and fight and protect these amazing freedoms. And so every Veterans Day, we continue to celebrate, these soldiers who give, soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, who continue to serve their country, right? So what can you do this Veterans Day? Well, I can speak from experience. I'm a combat veteran. I served in Iraq in Operation Inherent Resolve. This is an awesome, great job to have. I love being a soldier. It's wonderful, but it's also a difficult, stressful job. You miss a lot. You sacrifice much. You sacrifice some of your own freedoms. We don't have the same freedoms you do, because we give those up to preserve your freedoms, to fight on your behalf, right? And we also miss a lot. We deploy. Many of the soldiers that we have here have deployed 3, 4, 5 times for anywhere from 9 months to a year and a half that they miss. So we miss birthdays and anniversaries and kids' sporting events and just all the things that maybe we take for granted. Even when we're home, we're out training a lot. We may go train and go to the field for a month at a time. It can be a stressful job, but it's rewarding. We love doing it. Why? Because people who serve in this capacity, they believe in freedom and preserving the American way of life. They love and value America, and most importantly, they love and value you. You're the reason that we do this. My family is the reason that I do this. So this Veterans Day, what I would encourage you to do more than anything else is just enjoy being an American. Enjoy the freedoms that you have that were paid for. A lot of times as we forget that and we're fighting for this injustice or that injustice, you have to remember that the core of the American system, that it was so important that people gave their very lives. Millions of Americans over the years have died and given their lives for freedom. So enjoy it. Enjoy your holiday and live to the fullest. Be an American. And the other thing you can do is there's plenty of veterans in your community who have served, and I think that all you can do is express your gratitude. So if you see somebody, a veteran, just thank them for their service and thank them for what they do. Whether they did a full career or 4 years, it's a tremendous sacrifice. And right now in your community in Wilkes County, there are plenty of veterans around who have made that sacrifice. It is physically, mentally, and emotionally challenging, and most of them will carry scars through the rest of their life, be it physical or emotional. It's a difficult job. So just expressing your gratitude. We're coming up on Thanksgiving. Live a life of thankfulness, right? Live a life of gratitude. And I think that's what you can do. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that this history lesson and the talk has given you something to think about, right? That you can remember back and share with friends and family that this is not just a holiday that is come and gone. This is a living holiday, and we should celebrate yearly the men and women who have given much. And Memorial Day, we celebrate those who have given their lives, but all veterans volunteer to potentially give that up. The Bible says, as I'm a chaplain, greater love has no one than this, that he would lay down his life for his friends. And our men and women in uniform have given that for you, right? So we can be grateful. Thanks again, North Wilkes High. And if anybody has any questions or would like to reach out, please do. And I'll shoot off my contact information. I'd love to talk with you. Good luck in the rest of your school year. All right, God bless.